Again, let me welcome you all. I'm so excited. Can already tell this is going to be a fun group to, we're going to enjoy being together and growing together and learning together. And I'm Tim Layton for those of you who haven't seen me before. And it's just my pleasure to be in this new role and to be in this on this journey with you. What I would like to do, if I wouldn't offend anybody, is I would like to start the meeting with a word of prayer. And if I would offend you, send me an email later and say you offended me, then we'll do something different. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So
Well,
if
Tim, are there only four of us here? Because that's
no,
all.
there's six of you. Six of the 10, and I knew three couldn't join us, so we're only missing one, I think, that I hadn't heard from. So, but we'll introduce ourselves after I pray. So let me pray. Lord, we just give you thanks for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to serve others through being a part of a Living Well Foundation. Lord, I pray that you'll give us courage and strength and wisdom for all the decisions that we need to make, and just guide everything we do and help us to enjoy the ride, to have fun together, but also to grow together and to help those that we are going to be serving through the purpose of the foundation. So I thank you for this time to be together and look forward to many more opportunities to share together. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's see. Recording has started. Okay, here we go. So what I like to do is all of you introduce yourself a little bit, tell where you are, maybe how long you've lived at your community or anything else you want to tell us about you. And I think we'll do it in order so that we have some order as to, and alphabetically. So Nancy, you're first on the list as we start going down.
Well, first of all, why can't I see the other people? I only see myself, you, Sarah, Doug, and Jim.
Well,
We're only missing one other person.
She doesn't know I'm here.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but let's don't worry about that. You see enough of us.
All right.
So
I'm Nancy Gibson. I live at Homestead Hills. I've been living here 10 and a half years, which is more years than anywhere else I've lived my whole life. So it's kind of scary, actually. um, what else do you want to know?
where did you move from before you came there?
Oh, I grew up in Winston-Salem and I moved back to Winston-Salem before I came here.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll learn more about everybody as we go along. So let's go. Actually, next up is Sarah for the Lakes at Litchfield, who's sitting right beside me.
I'm a little shorter than Tim, so I'm not sure other people can see me, but I'm down here on his, I guess, looking at him on his left side. And I came to the lakes about 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. And before that, I lived here in Pawleys Island for about 26 years, and I went to law school late in life, and but I'm retired now and really enjoy being retired.
All righty. So Jim, you're up next.
My name's Jim Satterfield. I live here with my wife, Lynn. We moved in 2 years ago, Friday. So we are coming up on our anniversary of being here. We've lived around Atlanta, moved around the States a little bit, moved to St. Simons, and then there was a little thing called a pandemic, and we decided we'd be better in a community than out in a subdivision by ourselves and moved in and have enjoying it. I am not very bright. I'm still working, which proves that I'm not very bright. And I do crisis management for a living, working with businesses and schools and local governments around the states.
I hope we don't need your services.
Me too.
All righty. Thank you, Jim. Cherie, you're up.
So you can hear me.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay. My name is Sherry Billings, and my late husband and I moved to Osprey Village here about 6 years ago. He passed 4 years ago, so I'm here by myself now, but thankful that I'm here because it's a great place to be. Most of my working career I spent in California, I was a CPA and a retired chief financial officer
Wow.
that happily retired and cruising and trying to play a lot of golf.
Good for you. You live in a great place to play a lot of golf for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Doug, you're next.
And Doug Bosworth. I'm at the Stratford in Carmel, Indiana. We're way out of the typical area for this company. Ben is here tomorrow to tell us what our fees are going to be next year, I think.
He didn't tell us.
I think it's only a 50% increase. It shouldn't
Yeah,
be
I
bad.
wouldn't be surprised. You can perhaps see in the background what my career was. I worked for John Deere
Mm,
in engineering and
Oh.
manufacturing management, and moved here 7 years ago, where I met my wife in happy hour, and we got married in this building, and we had a reception in this building, and our honeymoon was in this building. So
Wow.
worked out very well.
That's wonderful.
that is wonderful. What a great story. Super.
Well, I didn't tell what my career was, should I now?
Sure. What was it?
I was a school principal, school teacher, school principal, worked in the State Department of North Carolina and in the central office here, and had a really and then I married another principal here in Winston-Salem, and and we moved here 10 years ago, and he died 9 years ago.
Mm.
So yeah, we've had a great time though. I've had a great life, travel all over everywhere and have all these kids and grandkids, and woo, you don't want to hear all that.
One day we'll hear your stories.
Well,
So,
guess what? I'm just now publishing my story to give to everybody for Christmas.
Oh,
Seriously.
good.
It's wonderful. My children would like me to do that too.
yeah, they will greatly appreciate that for sure. Okay, Sarah, you're last.
I'm Sarah Perkins, and I live at Wildwood Downs in Columbia. And I'm originally from Virginia, and have lived in South Carolina now about as long as I've been anywhere, and two different places. I also lived in Sumter, but I moved here 8.5 years ago with my husband, and he passed away 7 years ago. So I love it. My mother was here.
Mm.
When I first met Donald, just after they bought Wildwood Downs, and I said my mother was there, and then he proceeded to tell the board that it was like a legacy. My daughter had gone with me, so that he said in 15 years she'd be there too. She didn't like that too well, but anyway, she's still not old enough to do it. But I was originally a school teacher, then a stay-at-home mom for a long time. Went back to teaching after 22 years and got my master's. So that was a nice senior thing to do. So I've first heard about Living Well Foundation, although I didn't know the name of it at that time, back about 4 years ago, I think, at an annual meeting.
Yeah, that's when it was tried to be resurrected. And
Yes.
it didn't work out. So, but it's going to work this time, you all. So, appreciate you all introducing yourselves and sharing. And personally, I look forward to get to know each of you better, and looking forward to visiting with you. And I am visiting 2 communities actually this week. I've got the pleasure of being at Marsh's Edge on Thursday and at Osprey Village on Friday. So really looking forward to those 2 visits, and hopefully maybe in December I can make a few more to some other communities. First, I want to talk about meeting times. I made a commitment to everybody that we weren't going to meet you to death, and that's still my commitment. But I just, starting out, we may want to meet at least once a month just to get to know each other and give you updates and so forth. For meeting times, what works best for everyone? Is there a certain day, and is it morning or afternoon? Now, I know there's one person, I don't think they're on the call, who told me I cannot do anything before 10 o'clock. But if you want to do it at midnight, I'm good. But
I'm with you,
Count me
Nancy.
in on that one too.
so just kind of tell me, morning or afternoon, and is there any particular day that works best?
Well, you know what? It just depends on which day we have to go to the doctor or a funeral.
I understand. Yeah, well, let's go with morning or afternoon. Is there usually a preference there?
Afternoon.
Early afternoon,
Yeah,
like 1 or 2 o'clock.
right.
Afternoon for me too.
So consensus afternoon, early afternoon.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that gives me some guidelines, and one thing I'll tell you, I know there'll be some things we need to vote on, but I'm not a person that likes to vote because I think it tears people apart. When I went into working, when I was just chair of the board of my church for a long time back in Kentucky, that's the first thing I changed. We never voted. We had to come to consensus, or we had to keep meeting. Finally, they would come to consensus because they got tired of meeting to do that. But I believe in consensus. So, okay, we'll meet in the afternoon, and I will probably choose a middle of the week day, probably not a Monday or a Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and see if we can't come up with a good time for everybody. Anything else on that?
I think if you record it, whenever you do it, then whoever misses can catch back up.
Good
And so
idea.
that takes some of the pressure off.
Good idea. Good idea.
When you're
Okay.
dealing with a bunch of old people, you know we're awful busy. She said,
Well, we got one over here that's still working, so we got fit into his schedule for sure. So we will see how we can work all that out. Well, I want to mainly just clarify a couple of things and then let you ask questions. And I know y'all have asked a lot of questions that I have sent answers to, but there may be some things you're still not very clear on. But just to one thing I want to clarify off the bat is I don't expect you to raise money. That's my job. I don't expect you to go door to door, knock on the door and say, we want you to give to the foundation. That is not your purpose. Your purpose is to represent the foundation, to share information, to put it in good light, to if someone doesn't understand it, to explain it. There could be times when I visit your community where you and your ED may have some people that you think might be interested in the foundation more than other people. And we might have some small group gatherings or something like that. I could definitely have come to a town hall and talk about the foundation, but you are not the fundraisers. I'm the fundraiser, and but sometimes you're the door opener. You can open doors that I cannot open. You can introduce me to somebody. I think I told y'all when I was in Kentucky at this community for 22 years, the last 16 years I did fundraising. I can develop relationships, but sometimes I need you to open the doors because I don't know your communities. I don't know your people. I don't know the people who have generous hearts, and you may or you may not. But I just want to definitely let you know, I don't expect you to be the ones knocking on the doors and asking for donations. That is my job.
So what's our job?
Well, again, I just said be supportive, share information, make sure everyone understands its purpose and so forth. You're more of an advocate for it, but you're also officially on the board. So part of your job will be to approve new bylaws, the new legal stuff that we're setting in. I mean, you do have a major purpose legality wise. We will need to elect officers at some point. So keep that in mind if that would be something that you would be interested in. Again, I don't see that as a big job. Most everything's going to flow through my office. But you will be responsible for the legal information. And also you're responsible to have a committee, anywhere probably around 5 people. Including your ED and your HR director and yourself and 2 other people. I know here for Lakes, it's a committee of 5. I know another community have already, I think, have a committee of 5. It's up to you to how many, but that committee will be responsible for reviewing the applications from the employees. I'm going to start using employees instead of team members because everyone says team members now. Who are the team members? Well, it's your employees. And you will be responsible for reviewing those grants. And of course, your ED and your HR director is going to know the situations more than you are. But that will be part of your role is when they come in, and then they will come to me after that. You will not be approving grants for residents or for members, IL members who might request help if they are running close to running out of funds towards the end of life and so forth. So you will not have any responsibility for those grants. They will come directly from your ED to me. So if you haven't gotten your committee together, you still got time, because we're probably not going to be rolling any grants out. It's just not going to happen until sometime early next year. But if you want to go ahead and be thinking about it and getting a couple of people to serve alongside of you, I would encourage you to do that. They will have a very important purpose.
Do you have a
I've already
profile of
done-
what we ought to look for?
Sir?
Do you have a profile of what we ought to select?
I would definitely select a person that you know who has a big heart, someone who cares about the employees, who engages with employees, who wants to know the employees. I would not choose someone, as you well know, Jim, who is nothing but a trouble causer, who stirs up things. We don't want that. I think it's up to you. You know your members, and you know who cares deeply for the employees. To me, that's the biggest thing, to have a heart for the employees. You're their advocate. Yes, ma'am.
Did you get the message I sent to you? That we have the two.
I did get your message. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And as you get yours, you can send them to me. Just let me know who they are, and I'll develop a list of who your committee members are.
Let me ask
How
you
many,
this.
how many groups don't have committees?
Several at this point.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't pushed it yet, but need to be thinking about it and probably getting that in order. So, any questions about your responsibility of this, what I expect of you all?
I have a question about how we get attention. In other words, is raising the hand the way, or
Well, you have a thing up there where you can raise your hand. I can call on you. I don't know if you know. It's at the top. It has a little hand and says raise. And
Yeah, it goes chat, people, raise.
yeah, and you can
Those
raise your
buttons
hand,
at the top.
and it should, a little hand shows up.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. I just
Yeah.
found it.
Yeah, it lets me know that you want to speak. That way you don't talk over each other.
well, wait a minute, nothing happened when I put my hand there.
Well,
click on it.
Ooh.
actually, hang on a second. Cherie just put her hand up. So Cherie, would you like to say something?
Not really. I just wanted to know if any of my stuff was working.
Yeah, you're working perfect.
Yeah, yeah. When you
Except-
talk, you're vibrating because I got you on the phone, and also you're coming off on the computer, so I have to move the phone away. But you got it
Alright,
up.
Okay.
Now
So
you
the
can,
only
microphone
thing that's
works.
not working is my camera.
Mm-hmm.
now you can click that again and it goes away. But you're,
Well,
okay,
mine-
you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try mine. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened.
Well.
Well, Nancy, we're sending you a message.
Nancy, you can just raise your hand. We see you.
Okay, I'd like to know what's going on,
Okay, well, let's kind of move on, and let me just give you some updates. We are working on the website. The home office got busy on another project. Sometimes I've already have felt like I'm the stepchild in some ways right now, but I understand it. But they are back to working on the website, so hopefully we'll have something shortly that we can review. It's really important, because unless we have the website where we can actually give donations online, we might as well not even get started. So that's key. Legal documents we are still working on. We thought we had it all together. Not only are we going to be giving emergency assistance to the employees, but also we want to expand it to give scholarships, particularly scholarships out in the community, because to protect our 501c3, we've got to not only benefit our employees, but we got to benefit potential employees in the community. So I have already canvassed all the communities and found out about community colleges and technical schools and so forth. So, but we've got to add that into the bylaws, and actually Ben and I just met, so we've got to incorporate that. And two, I think I've told you all, Ben and Josh are really wanting a first home buyers program. They believe in people being able to own their own home. So we've got to incorporate that into the bylaws too. So we are still working to get all those legalities straightened out.
And Tim, you'll handle if there's a resident who needs help.
Yes, residents come directly to me. You will not see any of that. They apply to the ED, and then the ED will forward those on to me.
Sarah, you got your hand up. You did good.
I know it. I'm gonna ask a question.
Okay.
You mentioned the bylaws, and did you determine whether or not those bylaws have ever been revised?
I think they've been revised, but not revised up to your standards.
Did you show them that letter I sent you?
Yeah, I sent it on to Ben, and I told him today, I said, Ben, there's some things we got to do in the bylaws. We got to make some adjustments and so forth. So he's very open to that. So I appreciate you finding that
He
information.
probably was not surprised if you told him I was one that.
Are you? Yeah. Jim,
Since we're a board, is there D&O insurance?
we are going to get that for you.
Because
That-
obviously if we have money and touching money in today's world, it's very litigious.
That if you saw my agenda for Ben, it is one of the items on the agenda. We need to get you all insurance to protect you. So, yeah. I don't think that's something we haven't discussed in the last couple of weeks. I think it was waiting till the board got together and we actually had official members and so forth. So we'll work on that.
One last thing, it's my understanding that there are some segregated funds that I think the Riley Trust put some money in for Marsh's Edge people. So we may have to segregate the funds in that process.
They already are. You are very fortunate that you got a major bucket of funds already. And actually, like Litchfield has a pretty good bucket of funds already of gifts that were given to the foundation. And here's the interesting thing. Again, I'm an open book. Some donations have been given in the past for a particular purpose that did not meet the purpose of the foundation. So those funds were actually not used. They were put in the foundation, and the company covered those special projects. So
Okay.
so that's kind of what happened at Marsh's Edge and Napa Lakes. So, but I do know, according to Ben, the Thompsons are planning to be very supportive of the foundation. And, their gifts will probably come in as undesignated. We rather have undesignated gifts because then they can be used for any community. But we have set up donor advised funds, and we're still kind of working through that. But the way I've got the website set up is you can go to the website and you can actually request to give undesignated, or every community is listed, and you can click on the community that you would like to support. And then you can actually then decide, do you want to give your funds to support residents and members, or do you want to give your funds to support the employees? So on the website, we've got it where you have kind of a donor advised way of saying where you want your money to go. But we're still working with the attorney on that. But that's my plan, because I know more money can be raised if you can specify you want it at your community. I have no doubt.
Well,
So
there's a facility here that I'm very familiar with at Still Hopes in Columbia. And they have a substantial residence fund. And people actually, the families will put a designation if people want to give something for the deceased to contribute to the residence fund at Still Hopes. And they have a pot of money. So that's really, people have asked me about, how do we know this is our money?
It'll be tracked. I've already got our donor software programs, so every gift that comes in and is designated, I know exactly where it goes. I can print a report for you. It will, I assure you, if it is designated for your community, it will come to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And,
yeah.
and I think you all know, you cannot designate gifts to an individual and get tax, tax deduction for that. It has to be to a general fund. But yeah, you can't say, okay, I'm gonna give a gift because Sarah's running out of money and we want to support Sarah. That would not be tax deductible. So, yeah. Okay, so let's see what else. Also, I've shared with you, we hope to do a payroll deduction program. I've already been in touch with home office because we know that a lot of employees will give to the fund. There's no doubt this Trilogy. If you have not looked at the Trilogy Foundation online, look at their foundation, look at their website. You'll learn a lot about what we are going to do, but they raise a couple million or more dollars a year just from their team members. But they have 17,000 team members and we have 3,000. But I'm sure there are some people who are in administration who would give $50 a pay period, and 24 pay periods. We have 24 in administration times $50. I mean, there's over $1,000 right there. So we know we can raise money from employees, but their funds will probably be undesignated. It will be hard to track their giving if they're giving through payroll deduction. So they will be undesignated, used for any community that needs assistance. Now, all of this is still fluid. I mean, fluid. What's the word? It's still all unraveling, unfolding itself. So don't hold me to anything until we start actually approving stuff. But this is the plan. This is how we see it unfolding. Okay. I see hands. Okay, I see a hand wiggling.
Yeah. Tim, could we have an agenda for our meetings in the future, please?
Yes, you can. I actually put one together right here, but I didn't get it sent out in time. But I will
Okay.
try to put an agenda together, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know ahead of time when the meeting is going to be, of course. And then if you have agenda items yourselves that you would like to have discussed, you can send them to me. Okay.
Thank you.
God bless Santa.
Oh, Doug, yeah, you got your hand up. Thank you.
Do employees have 401ks?
Uh,
I don't think so.
they have the opportunity to have one. Yes.
Oh,
I would say very few do actually participate in that, but they do have the opportunity to have a 401k.
Does the company contribute anything?
Sir?
Does the company contribute anything to the 401k?
Yes, they do. I can't remember what the match is, but yes, they do contribute to that.
Is that for salaried and wage people?
Yes, I'm pretty confident it is, but I'll get you a definite answer to that.
Okay, I assume this is a private foundation.
It is.
Okay, that eliminates one big source of money, which is the RMDs, which many of us, almost all of us would have. If you go through I don't think you can give to a private foundation in a lot of, if you have a charitable trust fund, you can, I know. It has to be a public foundation.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you can designate to a private foundation with an RMD or not.
How about my attorney sitting right here beside me?
Ah,
You know the answer to that?
I was a real estate attorney.
But
We
but
will
getting an
find out.
answer will be good. Yeah. Tim impresses me that he'll get the answers to handle that, Doug.
I'll get you the answer. Something else I want to mention, I think long-term, a lot of their funding is going to become through estate planning bequests, though. People living us in their estate plans in Kentucky, I was very successful. I set up like a society, like we may name ours the Be the Light Society, and tried to get folks to give from their estate plans. And we actually end up with a case, and every person who gave actually had a personal cup and saucer that came out of their own personal collection. We put in the case with their name and And we may try to set something up in every community where people who do contribute through their estate, we can recognize them in some way. Okay, so moving right along, one thing I know Ben has addressed in the town halls, but I want to address it one more time, and you haven't heard it, Doug. Oh, you got another question, Doug?
Do you think there will be a difference in attitude of residents? All of our residents are monthly pay. We're all rental here. Do you think there's a psychological difference between a rental and a buy-in as far as a resident is concerned?
I'll have to give some thought to that as to whether
I
they be
think-
willing to give or not.
I think I would guess there's more of a belonging sense if you have a buy-in.
Well, that's something that we can definitely gauge as we go along to see. Yeah.
I think you might be right about that, Doug. This is Sarah. I'm just butting in, but I would think you were right.
Well, that's something we can.
Is yours the only community that is all rental?
So
Yeah, I didn't realize you were all rental. That's interesting.
And,
But-
and with the people that have buy-ins, as the estates are settled, the family would have monies that they could designate there, which would be much more likely than if it was a rental situation.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand.
Doug, are any of your rentals in there have been there for quite a while?
15 years.
So would you say half of the people have been there for over 5 years?
No, we have about a third turnover every year.
Oh,
So well, we've been here 7 years and we're probably in the top 10%. So,
Okay. Well, that's
so we
something we
probably
can.
don't get the longevity that, because it's easy as people have health problems, they just give them a month notice and move to a place that's perhaps closer to the other family or has some other amenities that aren't available here.
Very true. Okay. All right.
It's easy to move out.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, all of our apartments are rental. Our cottages are all buy-ins. So we have kind of a split audience here for sure.
Oh, you do? Your apartments are rentals down at the
Mm.
lakes?
Mhm.
They're
Yep.
not here.
Now at Brightwater, they have some rental and some buy-in. And they're struggling with the buy-ins because there are so many other communities that have been built in Myrtle Beach, and the competition's crazy up there. It's really hard. So more people are wanting the rental than the buy-in when you go into an apartment.
That's what we find here.
Okay, let me just again back to what the question has come up is, why isn't the company taking care of the employees? And they do. The company spends a lot of money on what is called the Evolve program, which is an educational program where they provide grants mostly to nursing staff to be able to go to nursing school and so forth. But the employees can apply for the Evolve program. But when it comes to emergency assistance, it's a whole different animal, because most everything would have to be considered as wages, and then they are paying taxes on what you're giving them, and they don't get the full benefit. From the foundation, if we give them a $500 grant, they get the full benefit. If it has to go through the wage, through payroll, half of that, third of it or so is already gone. So part of that is so they can get the full value of the grants that we would like to give them. And the other is the company is concerned about discrimination, because again, it's going to be an application process, and you all will more than likely, you're going to approve most every grant, but there could be some grants that you have to turn down, or it could be they submit an application that they've already submitted one, so they can't, based on the guidelines, they may not be up to be able to get another grant that year and so forth. So part of it is protecting the company. And basically us as a separate foundation, we can make our own decisions and decide who we want to give grants to and who we don't want to give grants to. But it just gives us a greater ability to be able to actually take care of their employees more so than the company can. So, I think our company is very generous. I mean, if there's an emergency or something, I mean, I think the other day, well, the floods came through up in South Carolina. I talked to the lady at Cascades. They were without electricity for 7 days, she said. But one person car got flooded out, couldn't get to work. Another company rented a car for her to be able to drive to work. So it's not like the company doesn't have a big heart and is trying to help people. But the foundation just expands the opportunities where we can help people where the company can't. So I know Ben has said that in every town hall. So Doug, you will hear that tomorrow. I assure you. He'll talk about the foundation. And also the other question is the legality of it that has been questioned. There are numerous foundations who have been in existence far longer than our foundation, who does exactly what we do. Again, I refer you to the Trilogy Foundation. So we have no doubt that what we're doing is totally above board and totally legal to be able to do. Okay, I don't see any hands. Oh, I do see a hand. Doug.
I have another question involving, I can't quite visualize residents here being eligible for any kind of a grant, especially since it's a rental situation that would be either they're going to pay their rent or they're not.
You're very right. And that's one reason the foundation has been pretty much defunct since 2010, because it was set up originally to help residents and members. And most residents and members, who live in our communities, do have resources. Now, that doesn't mean that you have plenty of resources, but over time, if you live 20 years and you end up, 10 years in assisted living or 4 in skilled, which is not going to happen if you're in skilled. It's a short period of time. But you can go through your resources. If you're a couple, one's in assisted living, one's in memory care. We have that situation right now, and they have really gone through their resources. But there just hadn't been that many folks, Doug, that have actually approached the foundation. I mean, our foundation or approached the company to ask for assistance. The company does other ways to assist people. Sometimes if there is a real need, they will adjust their monthly service fee to try to help them some. We don't want anybody to move out for sure, but there's only so much that the company can do, because when the company gives, if the company reduces someone's monthly service fee here at the lakes, who's picking up the cost for that reduction?
The rest of us.
Residents, everybody else is. Foundation is totally different. So, they do from time to time try to help people, particularly maybe towards the end of life. But that's the reason the foundation just hasn't been very active, because there just hasn't been that much need for it. But expanding it to the team members or employees, that just changed. It's a game changer. Okay, Sarah.
I have a friend here who's a member. Still have to get used to using that word. And she has been here 18 years. And she's really concerned because she's been a widow for over that length of time. And she just feels like her funds are beginning to run out. And I was telling her about what we were up to with this. And it kind of brightened her day a little bit. But on the other side, I have seen the reaction of Ben at an annual meeting where he announced, I forget was, I don't know if it was the, for the year, employee of the year, or I forget, but in any case, she was here at Wildwood Downs. But she had taken advantage of every kind of education she could get. And she had a responsible position in care services here at Wildwood Downs. And she was leaving us to go be the executive director at Wellmore, TKK.
Hmm.
And when he was talking about that, and when he was going to announce what he had a little break in his voice. It just was that meaningful to him, and I have seen them react in that way so many times when they talk about things. So, when you hear things about, you have witnessed some of that kind of thing, it brings a lot of meaning to what we're trying to do, and that's on both sides of the coin.
I will, in my opinion, and I've said it here for Lakes, the culture of the Lakes, if you didn't know better, you would think we were a nonprofit Christian community, faith-based. It's the culture that we've had here. Maybe I've helped to develop that culture here. But most people who come in don't realize that we're for profit. And I think in a lot of ways, the hearts of the people who run the company, Ben and Josh have big hearts. Donald has a big heart.
Oh, Donald was the first one I had contact with, and he is
Donald's
something.
Donald was the biggest heart.
Yeah, they all have
You're
big
right.
hearts. And I'll tell you has the biggest heart is Donald's wife. She is an incredible lady, you all. She to live with Donald. Y'all better. This is getting recorded. I better shut my mouth.
Yeah.
But the boys have big hearts, and I think that's what you're seeing, Sarah. The company really cares about people, and sometimes I think they get a unfair shake sometimes when people give them a hard time. So, yeah. But
Yeah, I've had a lot of complaints made to me over the years, and they don't like to, they've learned that they better not complain too much to me because I've got something to say back.
I understand that, Sarah. I have the same problem.
yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, the first time Donald talked to us after they purchased us and they told us they had bought us, and that was in 19. And there's somebody asked about, well, what if someone, was in hardship financially? And he said, I can't think that I've actually had to put anybody out. There's always some way we can find to work things out. And I'll never forget that. That really impressed me right in the beginning. There was a different kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
So,
And I think a part of it is letting people know there are options. Sometimes families may not know that, and they go ahead and make a decision, and then it's too late. Well, I'm moving here because it's cheaper. Well, you never told us why you were moving out. So maybe it's shame on us for not saying, well, why are you moving? Well, I've already made a decision, and then it's hard to save them after that. So.
Well,
Okay, y'all, it's getting close to dinner time or happy hour for some of you. So
Oh, it's already past that.
I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
was going to say this happy hour was this meeting.
I think we've been a pretty happy bunch.
Yes, we have.
I'm excited. Y'all are a great bunch. Any questions? Any other questions you have at this time?
No.
Okay, I see no hands going up. Well, I knew it'd be Nancy.
Well, we were just talking about people moving out, and people here at Homestead Hills are talking about moving out because they can't afford the increases that have been going on every year. And by the way, Ben did not tell us what the increase would be when he came to our town hall meeting. So I'm wondering when that's going to happen. But I'm just saying, what do we say to these people? There are a lot of people around at Homestead Hills that I know that are talking about. In fact, one of my best friends is leaving next week. So how do we avert that? We need to talk about it sometime, maybe not today in a lot of conversation because it's getting, as you say, close to happy hour. But I need some help with that.
Well, in my opinion, their first step is to go talk to their ED
Mm-hmm.
and say, here's my situation. I don't want to leave. I don't know what I can do, but the application process to get foundation funding for a resident or member is pretty involved. I mean, we are asking for 3 years of tax reports. We're asking for all your reports of all your stocks or assets, what you have in your checking account. And you need to start that process, at least, in my opinion, 6 months before you think you're going to need help. So that we can actually look at it and process it. So we are trying to be good stewards of the company's money and your money, because if we reduce our monthly service fee, it comes back on you. So we need to be able to verify for sure that there is a need there. And what we don't see at times is, well, where does the family fit in? A lot of times families can help, but they choose not to. But we don't judge that. We don't know. We don't ask for family what they can do to help. We basically base it on what the resident has in assets and so forth as to what we can do to help them. But the ED is the gatekeeper. You always need to go to your ED first. Okay. About done. You all done? Everybody good?
See you Thursday.
We'll see you Thursday. I'm excited. And Cherie, I'll see you Friday.
Oh, you're
Just Sherry.
Yep. So y'all have some good weather for me. So, and let me let you, I think I told you all, next week, then I'm out of pocket. I'm our oldest son and 3 grandkids and wife from Kentucky. We're all headed to Miami to take a cruise together. Jackie said yes before she asked me if we were going to go. And she says, Tim, you never turn down your son and your grandkids when they ask you to do something with them, because they may never ask you again. So I'll be out of pocket all next week. So I don't think you'll need me. Sometimes I feel very useless compared to when I was an ED. But it's definitely a lot less stress than being an ED at this point in time in my life. But
Well,
thank you all.
you have a great time, and thanks for all the work you're doing to inform us. Keep us
You're
informed.
welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you all for being willing to serve. We're going to learn together and grow together, and we're going to be on this journey together. And, let's just enjoy the ride. Okay. So
Thank
you all have a great evening, and I'll see you all again soon.
Safe travels.
Thank you, sir.
Night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do you get out of here?
Push leave up there in the corner.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I need to stop the recording.
Stop.
Bye.